Hello everyone, I'm Captain Courageous and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. This week, I'm taking a look at the Lost City of Gaxmoor, a campaign level adventure module written by Luke and Ernie Gygax. Coming up right here on RPG Retro Reviews. Hello everyone, welcome back, or if this is your first time here, glad to have you. If you enjoy old school games and Dungeons & Dragons, this is your place, not only for nostalgic looks at classic modules from the TSR era, but also the hottest titles in the OSR, or Old School Revival movement. I've got over 100 videos in my library, so please subscribe so you'll get notifications when I upload new content. This week's review is a look at the Lost City of Gaxmoor, a campaign-level adventure written by the sons of Gary Gygax, Luke, and Ernie. Just a quick spoiler warning, as is usual for my reviews, I'll be taking a rather deep dive into this ancient city, and if you intend on exploring its wonders, you may wish to direct your referee to this video in hopes that they might consider using it. Otherwise, let's begin. Originally released in 2001 by Trollord Games and compatible with the 3rd edition of Dungeons & Dragons, it was later re-released in 2003 to be compatible with Trollord's own retro-style game, Castles and Crusades, which is a great game in its own right and a topic I've previously covered in several other video reviews on this channel. If you'd like to know more about Castles and Crusades, please check the links above. Most recently, in September 2019, Trollords raised over $100,000 to update this adventure once again to the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. The update includes full color pages and artwork and an updated full color map. Here you can see the original map from the Castles and Crusades version, and here is the updated color version for the 5e version. This review will generally go over the city in general terms that are applicable to both versions of the adventure, such as story and encounters, but I will start with a general overview of the 5th edition version, as that is the most recently released edition. The pages of that tome are of the highest quality, that glossy vellum look that the Trollords are known for. It looks and feels phenomenal. The book opens up easily and lays flat. Much of the artwork from the Castles and Crusades editions is carried over, but now it is color inked and updated, as are most of the maps. This is stitch bound. It's absolutely presented with modern production values and will make a great looking addition to your gaming library. The city itself is a relic of an ancient empire. It has extensive history in the Castles and Crusades campaign setting of Erd, but is completely generic and can easily be placed in just about any campaign setting. Originally, the city of Gaxmoor was a cosmopolitan ancient city that was a hub of trade in an ancient empire that closely resembles the real-world empire of Rome. Gaxmoor was known for its trade, the kindness of its citizens, and its gladiatorial games. So much so that it became a much-beloved city of the god of travel, Ernest Gregaria. The travel god made no demands for a temple in the city. In his name, the city itself was considered his temple. When the empire fell to dark forces, the god could not bear to see his beloved city sacked and destroyed. Thus, through magical means, he spirited away the entire city into a pocket dimension. In this mini-universe, time passed more slowly. Cut off from the rest of the world of their birth, the citizens became decadent and weak. Dark forces slowly corrupted the city and abruptly returned it unexpectedly to the world. However, While only a few decades had passed for the citizens, 1,000 years had passed in the real world. Furthermore, dark forces were gathered, ready to give the city the proper sacking it had originally avoided. The city fell quickly, and much of what the travel god sought to preserve fell to ruin anyway. I really like the premise of this module. Just imagine if a city from ancient Rome suddenly appeared in the modern day, with live Roman citizens from the day and fresco artwork untarnished by time. Wouldn't you want to explore it? The referee should seek to place Gaxmoor in an out-of-the-way part of their setting, a border city that is probably beyond the resources of most local principalities to defend or investigate properly. However, the chaos caused by the invading armies of evil will certainly prove an issue for nearby villages and towns, and refugees from the city will bring attention to the city's abrupt return and peril to adventurers and the scholars alike. The city is essentially one giant time capsule of a lost age, and that alone should spur interest in exploring it. Conversing with the refugees should prove interesting, as well as they speak an ancient dialect of the common tongue, and it will certainly take a scholar to be able to translate their speech. Gaxmoor itself is divided into several main sections: the outer city, the walled city, the citadel, and the caverns beneath the city, including the sewers, each becoming progressively more dangerous as adventurers move towards the city's center and the evil Cambion lord that resides there. Of course, the players don't know this, and that can potentially prove deadly, as there's nothing to prevent them from moving where they will other than the various monster encounters. Low-level characters are better off sticking to the outer city initially, and there are quite a few places to explore, potential allies to be made, and there's even a tavern, a bastion of the old city that has managed so far to put up a stalwart defense against the dark forces that have invaded the city, the Singing Siren, Inn and Tavern. This can serve as an outpost for player characters to hold up, rest, and recuperate between excursions into the city and find potential allies and sell swords for hire. To that end, the adventure goes into some detail on the NPC staff and patrons at the Siren, not only listing useful NPCs that might provide information, rumors, and potential story hooks, but also sell swords that might be willing to accompany them on an adventure. There are quite a few ways for the players to become involved in this adventure. One, a wounded citizen might randomly wander into the hero's camp, speaking a dialect of the common tongue that is so old as to be indecipherable. Thus, learning of what happened in the city from this citizen should set them on a course for adventure. Two, a local baron might hire the PCs to investigate the disturbances in the province and to find out what happened to the previous detachment that was sent out and disappeared a month previous. Or three, the PCs happen upon a group of wounded hobgoblins carrying the spoils of plunder. The injured band shouldn't prove that difficult a task to overcome, and when they investigate the treasure they were carrying, they discover a wealth of gold coins from an ancient empire not seen in 1,000 years. Learning of the origin of the coins leads them to Gaxmoor. Or four, a high-level cleric in the town the PCs are in detects the powerful evil Lord of Chaos that is currently ruling in Gaxmoor and hires a group of adventurers to investigate. And there are, of course, many, many more. The sudden reappearance of a city missing for 1,000 years should definitely stir up the local populace and suggest many ways for the players to get involved. Of course, the PCs would not only be the ones to investigate such an occurrence of this scale, and quite a few individuals and groups are detailed here that can prove to be both allies and rivals to the PCs. There is the Black Feather Band, which is a group of mercenaries that moonlight as brewers. The Bone Crusher Band is a group of humanoids who've recently lost their leader, and the replacement, Veg, is more interested in spending time drinking and visiting the harem than fighting, though he may be forced into action if the PCs keep invading their territory. There are quite a few factions of humanoids listed, including gnolls, bugbears, and orcs, and the like. There is now the former governor of Gaxmoor, who is now a refugee hiding in the palace's lower cellars with his wife and family and imperial guards. Obviously, they would be grateful if they could find safe passage out of the city. Then there is Heracles, a Cambian demon lord who has taken hold of the city and is responsible for its sudden return to the prime material plane. He currently resides in the governor's palace and seeks the staff of Ernest Gregoria, the Lord of Travel, a powerful magic item and certainly a quest item, the recovery of which can provide the impetus for many adventures within the city and adding an overarching objective to the campaign. To further add to the chaos, a being known as the Cobbler, an eldritch demigod, has enchanted several of the statues in the Lost City of Gaxmoor. The various statues provide many different types of effects, usually related to what they are carved to represent. The wild dogs and bear statue will become real when touched. The citizen holding a gargoyle pipe statue is holding an actual pipe. Of course, anyone who smokes from said pipe is turned to stone, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Interestingly, to release the stoned individual, empty the pipe. Of course, if they think to do this before smoking the pipe themselves, they might release a potential ally. The module lists 72 such statues and pools scattered about the city, all with various effects, some beneficial and some rather dangerous, which will certainly add to the fun and mayhem when exploring the city. Definitely a lot of love and effort went into this project, and clearly Luke and Ernie have learned well from their father and have amazing creative minds of their own. This module is packed with tons of maps for the crypts in the cemetery, maps for the various buildings within the city, maps of the sewer network and the undercaverns, and many, many more too numerous to list here. The cover art for this edition of the city is by Zoe Devos. The interior art is by stalwart Castles and Trollord Games artist Peter Bradley and Jason Walton, Zoe Devros, Max Dunbar, Mark Allen, and Chuck Cumbo. All of it is evocative and inspirational. I found this to be a very enjoyable read. The all-new 5th edition rendering of the City of Gaxmoor map is by Alyssa Fadden. The Castles and Crusades version of this module is virtually identical to the 5th edition version in most respects, except the statistics are given for the Castles and Crusades RPG rather than 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. The statues and pools section is slightly expanded, and the 5e version includes the Undercaverns of Gaxmoor, which is quite a large expanded section, including the upper caves, east and west, and lower cave section. Speaking of statistics, the 5e stats for most monsters and creatures are given in the old-style traditional format, as you can see here, which, if you're used to the 5e expanded listings, can be a bit jarring at first, but surprisingly I found this format refreshing and easy to read. Of course, I learned the game with this kind of format, so it was easy to adapt to, but others might not agree. So just a little warning. Also, the referee is still referenced to as the Castle Keeper, or CK, rather than Dungeon Master. In third-party products, the term Dungeon Master is not part of the SRD to begin with, so most usually use referee or game master anyway. It's certainly appropriate for the Trollords to use their own original term for the game's referee from Castles and Crusades, but once again, those new to Trollord games might find the term jarring initially. This adventure and campaign supplement is easily acquired on the Trollord Games website for $49.99 or the PDF and print version for $59.99. Note, I did discover that Gaxmoor is available on Amazon for $36.99, though the stock is limited and I suspect sold out after I release this video. The Castles and Crusades version of this adventure is out of print, but the digital version PDF is still available for just $19.99. You can also pick up the PDF 5th edition D&D version for $19.99 at DriveThruRPG. If you'd like to get a copy of the print version for the Castles and Crusades version, that too can be found on eBay, still at a reasonable $25 to $30. Links for everything I just mentioned is in the description. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Lost City of Gaxmoor on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. For style, I'm going to combine the rating between both the 5th edition and the Castles and Crusades version, though it should be noted that there has been a bit of expansion and revision for the 5th edition version, which is 68 pages more than the Castles and Crusades version. It expands several encounter areas and adds in the Undercaverns, which is new due to the success of the 2019 Kickstarter. But overall, the artwork and format is basically the same. This is very well organized and easy to find the things you're looking for, from specific encounters to the lists of new magic items. This is another high production value item from the Troll Lords, and I'll rate this an 18. Presentation-wise, this is amazingly well written and fun to read. Quite a few of the encounters had me laughing out loud, and all of it is designed with the long-term campaign and exploration in mind. In a lot of ways, this reminds me of Undermountain and Waterdeep, but this city, though active, is in a state of turmoil, flux, and decay. There are citizens that need rescuing, evil that needs defeating. There are street-level encounters, many dungeons encounters, and a massive cavern exploration. A cosmopolitan city from the world's ancient past has suddenly reappeared after a 1,000-year absence, and certainly that will provide an amazing amount of play value. In addition to all that, there is a choice between game systems. I'm going to rate this a 19. The Lost City of Gaxmoor could be used for just about any old school game if using the Castles and Crusades version with nominal effort to convert, or with more modern versions of D&D with the 5th edition version, so its appeal and value in that respect is pretty obvious. The 5th edition version is in keeping with the production values to rival anything from Wizards of the Coast, but of course that means it's going to run about $50. A little bit less on Amazon, or even less if using the Castles and Crusades version. Overall, I'll rate this a 17. And that brings my overall rating for the Lost City of Gaxmoor from Troll Lord Games to an 18. Very good. Thank you all so much for watching. I've got a massive backlog of modules and games to review. People keep sending me stuff. Really cool things like the top secret box set, an OSR called Chromatic Dragons, a modern horror game from the creators of Buffy the Vampire RPG called Night Shift. I also got sent recently a campaign setting called Midderlands, which is for the Swords and Sorcery OSR game. Not to mention some of the cool print-on-demand games and modules I've picked up with that sweet, sweet affiliate money. All coming up right here on RPG Retro Reviews. I'd like to thank all my patrons who support the channel month after month for your continued support. Without you, these videos would not be possible. Please give this video a like, comment, and share. Please check out my Teespring store for great gaming swag, t-shirts, carry bags, coffee cups, and more. Join the channel's Facebook page, RPG Reviews, and consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron yourself. Or alternatively, you can just send a tip through the PayPal tip jar. Links for everything is in the description. And as always, my friends, may your D20 roll true and game on.